Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, this is Broken Windows. Joel Otim is my name, your host.
And Shadrach Manano.
No. There's so much tension. But today we have two people here. Brendalyn returns in season 2. And today she's calmer than before. Last time she said we insulted her to ask her about transport money when she drives. So today we will know what to ask about. And this is Shabela, my former supervisor of clerkship. Agodo Shabela, also formerly my boss. And today we are going to be discussing patriarchy. I'm sorry I didn't allow you to introduce yourself because I want you people to delve into the matter personally.
Yes,
so before I come to our well-researched definition of patriarchy, I would want to start with you. What is your definition to a passerby of patriarchy?
I'd say basically male dominance.
Male dominance?
Yes.
In and out of the bedroom?
Everywhere, generally, just male dominance.
Male dominance. That is all you want to say?
Yes, to a passerby.
Okay.
I'm sure they can understand the English words. That men dominating.
Okay. Brendalyn.
First of all, thank you so much for hosting me a second time. After our last show, I didn't think I would ever be invited again. So I was very surprised. Also because this particular topic, I think for the past years of my life, I've avoided this discussion. But our team is so persuasive. It's like you're a salesperson. I try to dodge, I try to create excuses, but I'm here.
Yes.
And that is her testimony.
I'm here. I'm here because, one, I try to tell you that I don't understand patriarchy. Why? Because the kind of consciousness that I operate in is not that most people operate in. So when you start to talk these things, then I feel like I have to lower my consciousness to the one of people who discuss systems and cultures.
And systems.
No, but we would be very okay to have you as well.
Yeah, when you insisted, I decided to have a discussion with other young men. Just to see what it's like to operate in that kind of consciousness.
Yeah.
So, I'm here.
Thank you so
And
much.
for me, patriarchy, I also want to talk about patriarchy. Patriarchy is it's not just male dominance. It's just, I feel it is a system us men have also inherited. We just came here, they told us, do this, we're also doing. So that's how I also see patriarchy. It is everyday life. It's not male domination, but everyday life.
And then my well-researched definition of patriarchy is the social and ideological contrast, which considers men as superior and women less superior, or men superior to women. Patriarchy imposes masculinity and femininity character stereotypes in society. I think that is where you fall in, because they want women to behave a certain way and men behave a certain way, because as a man, they will come and tell you, why, as a man, talk to your woman, align your woman, put her in the right, you know. And some of us who are very soft-spoken, we are not going to help women. Yeah? Okay. Who have become soft-spoken with time, have tried to let certain things just flow. So that is my view, or that is our well-researched version of it. So as we are going to engage, I want us to know that I want to find out also what stereotypes have you faced as a woman. That certain things they want you to do to describe you as a woman, like as a woman you need to do this.
Identity.
That is actually
an identity.
Yes. So starting with you, Shabela.
Okay, so one, I agree with your definition.
Thank you so much.
I think the only way to properly discuss patriarchy is start from the very beginning, when you're a child. Yeah. Contrast it. Say start with your family. Contrast it with how you are brought up as a man or as a boy child, and how your sister would be brought up. Yeah. Your parents, first of all, of course, one, patriarchy is a system. It's been so embedded in us that we no longer recognize it. You don't recognize it, it just looks like everyday life, like you said. Your mother, you'll be watching TV, and your mother is like, you're putting your legs on your chair, on that chair. Put your legs down. How will you sit in your husband's house?
They're preparing
from nowhere. Or they'll say, I can't believe you're seated there instead of washing the dishes, but you're two people. Everyone has eaten in the house. There are like 5 boys and you're the only girl. All of them ate food, but somehow your mother thinks you should be the one to do the dishes.
Mm.
Even recently, I was having an argument with my mom.
Which happens on a daily.
Yes, but it was about my brother. Something my brother had done. I don't remember what. But then she's like, no, he's a boy. You have to... I told her, what do you mean he's a boy? Even me, I'm a girl. She's like, no, but that's not how men are. You have to be nicer to them. Because men are like, I don't know, crazy or something like that. So you are supposed to handle them more like glass-like, because they might shatter. You might somehow bruise their ego, because if you do this, they'll feel bad. And yet they never ever consider that we do feel bad. We're basically the same people, yeah?
Yes.
But because these things are, they keep imparting them to us slowly. They don't even... I started with the family because a lot of girls get that from the family, yeah?
Yeah.
But we could go to work, or we could go to
School,
the streets, anywhere. We had those senior women at school who used to tell us, so, lack of a better word, entire bullshit. Yeah, but this particular woman, I was in S6 or S5, and they brought us together. They told us, giving us a girl talk sort of, and she was telling us about how we have to wear half sleeves because you're a woman, you have to keep warm. I was like, I have to keep warm for what? Yeah, and she's like, you see, your man, he won't like you if you're not warm. In my head, I was like, what do you
what kind
mean
of warmth are we
warm?
talking about?
That's my point. Is that they just give us information and they don't exactly explain it. They just expect you to go by it because it has been given to you, yeah? So you grow up and you realize, oh, okay, they meant it sexually. But they could have just said it. But there's nowhere half sleep. You wearing a half sleep makes you warm or cold.
What's a half sleep?
Half petty?
Petticoat.
Yes.
What? You wore petticoats.
No, that's my point. Is that it's very irrelevant information. It doesn't have, it's not researched. You can't tell me that because you don't wear a half sleep, somehow your vagina will be cold.
Nice.
It doesn't make any sense. Like you get. So some of this information is just out there. It doesn't.
But I think you're also touching on something. We're making it seem like patriarchy is only beneficial to men. Is it only beneficial to men? Mostly
it is beneficial to men. Because I will talk as a girl. Because most of the things we are being told to do are for the men. Yeah, for the benefit of the men.
Let me first hear from Brendan. Is there anything you find wrong with dominance?
Our system now.
Like a man being dominant, and has it become a competition? Do you want to prove certain things to a man and what? Because last time you told us you can't ask for transport money, you ask for what? Fuel. If you're going to see a man. So.
I say don't ask that a responsible man should.
Should.
Okay.
Yes.
But so let me just give you an understanding of patriarchy that I understand. I talked about consciousness. Yeah. I have two kinds of consciousnesses that I'm going to talk about right now: the God consciousness and the ego consciousness. God consciousness is basically that you are God yourself. You are spirit. You don't operate from this dimension that we're in. You're a spiritual kind of operation. Then we have an ego consciousness, which for you to exist in this human body that you're in, you have to take on a certain identity, identity, which is the ego consciousness, right? Now, remember, if you're operating from a spirit consciousness, God energy does not subscribe to gender. That if today you're not in this body, your soul can be expressed in a female body. So that means that we are now having this discussion based on the ego consciousness, right?
Yes.
Where ego consciousness produces or gives birth to systems and cultures and things we have to identify with in order to build the ego.
Yes.
Part of these systems and cultures, then it becomes patriarchy, feminism, what other systems are there? Systems of governance, politics, movements. All of them are what?
Just a quick question. Have you always thought like this, or you grew into it?
I'm going to get to that. Now, very good question.
Very, very good.
Patriarchy, for me, how I approach it is in two words now. Other than the consciousness, nature versus nurture. Nature is internal, influenced by the natural element. Naturally, how from the genetics, your hormones, your body structure. By nature, a woman and a man will be different. But now there's nurture, which is external influence, which we are now discussing, because when we are born, Now we see what is happening in the environment, who decides what is going on, and that's why we end up here. Because if it was up to me, if it was by nature, I think we live in a matriarchal society, system or culture, if it was by nature. Why? Because I've not seen a man who has given birth to himself.
Not yet.
2, we have animal kingdoms where we have queens in charge. The structure of men are built to serve women. You may not want to have that discussion.
Yeah, you're humble servants.
But everything you do is for the sake of a woman. Why?
True,
Have you ever
true.
asked yourself why you struggle so much to serve this woman?
Circumcise.
Why? Nature. Imagine, exactly.
Yeah.
Nature dictates
We lost our
that
sheath.
the woman is the matriarchal system is natural and harmonious. And you know, when the matriarchal system is natural, it's harmonious. There's no imbalance. There's alignment. But now, do you know what's happening?
No.
We are all existing by nature, and therefore we are in imbalance. We are fighting. We're having this discussion.
Which side are you? Which side
We
are
are
you?
aligning.
But which
So-
side are you?
Me, I'm in the God consciousness, where I don't even know systems. I don't even operate from them. But because we are here discussing, that's exactly why I didn't want to come here. Because I start to
Get
I start to say things which people will now say that girl is
But-
against feminists.
but
But,
that is what
to
happens.
get back now to nature,
yes.
because now we're operating in nature. When you're born, you're influenced that this is how things should be done. This is how men should be treated. This is how women should be treated. And because that's not the natural way things should be, then we start to fight. And that's why it's a fight. We are fighting to get back to the natural harmonious element. It's a fight of egos. That's how I see it. So this whole patriarchy, matriarchy, and let me tell you, because we're in nature, even the women fighting for matriarchy will not win. They will also end up where we are.
I've been
Don't
told
look
you're going
like-
to lose.
I am so
Okay.
confused right now, you
Okay.
guys. But like I have like I can't even respond to that. So I will probably just have questions. But I was reading up on the history of patriarchy, and it's not that old. Apparently, it's like 4,000 years ago.
That is
So
not
I guess
old.
it's something that
So the question would be, what was there before patriarchy? If it's 4,000 years ago, what was there before?
yes. So I've never dealt with the concept of matriarchy, so I'm hearing it for the first time. But then since I also read that patriarchy is not that old, then I guess
matriarchy existed before.
I don't know if it existed. Maybe people
But
just
then
But okay.
maybe
But
there
I
was
get
not
your point.
dominating. Maybe there was not dominating.
What would be the ideal from all of us? Like, what would we want? The question is, do we want? Because a lot of times feminists fight for what? Equality.
Equality.
Yeah, but the question for me that I usually now, and that's
Pause.
why I usually ask, is would equality solve the problems of this world?
Thank you.
Okay, for me, let me just respond to that. So, equality and equity. Yeah. What I would want both. Because I just want to be me. I want to wear trousers when I want to wear trousers. I want to wear my hair the way I want to wear it. I want to have children if I want to have children. I don't want to have children if I don't have them. I want to be able to go after any job if I want to do it.
Yes.
I want to just be me
Basically,
in my
you want to
natural
operate
state.
in your most natural
Yes.
element.
Yes.
And
But I
that's
don't
what-
want someone telling me.
what to do.
Quick
Not even
example:
what to do.
someone got mechanical engineering or government, and the father was there at MOOC saying, "My daughter can't do mechanical engineering. She's a woman." In my head, I was like, "Are you kidding me? What does that even mean?" Yeah, I don't know if he sought the daughter's opinion or if he just thought when you do mechanical engineering you become a mechanic, and his daughter is a mechanic, will be a mechanic, and she can't.
For the people who live by this system, for the people who live in this patriarchal world, when a man says, I don't want my daughter to do mechanical engineering, what are the arguments against what he has said?
Yeah, but that's something no one addressed. But for me, that was something that bothered me.
No, I'm saying what are the arguments against that thing? What
Him saying he
That-
doesn't want his daughter to be.
a mechanical engineer?
Because those are things for men.
No, no.
Mechanics.
No, but he's not paying the school fees. He's not going to pay the school fees.
Ah,
That's
where?
my point.
Where?
Why does he have a problem with it?
Because he's the one paying their school fees.
So
Okay.
he must
No, in
decide.
in this case it was on government, but I'm saying, like sometimes we want to attribute certain things to patriarchy, yet it's just the system as it is. The person who has the power and who has the money makes the shots. You can't talk if you have no money.
Okay,
But
So-
I get that.
When you don't feel that decision was made out of a patriarchal kind of spirit.
No, this is what I'm saying. You're confusing patriarchy for someone who has just resources.
No,
it can be. It can
he
be.
has resources
It can be patriarchy.
influence
Yes,
his
it can be
interest.
patriarchy. It can be sort of some sexist comment. Let us say it. But are you going to just
But
say everything is sexist?
sexism in itself
Is
is
patriarchy.
coming from
I agree with you, but I'm asking you: are you going to say now that everything a man says that is against a woman, or everything that, like an opinion like
It's-
this?
okay, it's
because
complex.
it's his daughter one. It is his daughter one. He's the one who has been cashing her school fees. So what?
Okay,
what
it's
rate-
complex. Would he have said that if it were his son? Because you see, patriarchy is embedded in those
Yes,
systems.
yes.
So it's the nuances, yeah?
Yes.
Sometimes
He
you
would not
let
have said that if it was his son, but it's still his son. Are you getting my argument?
Yes,
now?
it is his son, but the reason as to why he said it is because he doesn't see his daughter in that position. And yet, essentially, there's nothing wrong with his daughter being what she wants to be. If she wants to be a mechanic, let her be a
Because
mechanic.
for you to get
I'm sure
government,
she,
you should have applied.
yes, she applied for it, and she saw it within. If she couldn't get maybe electrical engineering or whatever else she had applied for, she might as well do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the father to come and say no, my daughter will not be wearing those. What do the mechanics wear? Overalls and stuff like
Also
that,
known
because
as
she will not look like a woman, or she whatever he had in his head. That in itself is patriarchy. So if you're ignoring that, then you're avoiding that the smallest.
And I've also
detail
asked you
of
the
it.
follow-up question: what is wrong with that?
If the daughter,
Because from what
yeah.
you've all described,
if the daughter say, "Daddy, I do not want to do mechanical engineering, so I want to do something else," and if you ask her, "What is it that you want to do?" Yeah, apply for it. It was unnecessary for him to come and make noise at a university. That is something his daughter could have done. He could have driven her there, told her, "Apply for what you want.
What
I
you
will
want."
pay for it." That's
Yeah.
the difference.
I think let's
Yeah?
go to the next. I want to find out, especially from Brenda, if is there at any point where nature and nurture intersect, and why does nurture prevail over nature?
especially in a
Like
system
where-
like this.
Because this is nurturing. They want you to be like this. A woman should not ride boda. But when you know how when you see a
Bicycle.
woman like hey, you know, bicycle, yeah, losing virginity or something. You get it is attached to something where they want you to go there. A man, as a man, you need to be dominant over your woman. Tell her off when she does this. Circumcise to make her feel good. You
Yet
know.
for you like cowgirl.
So
I've never
I
heard
think-
of that, by the way. I'm just
Because-
hearing it from
No.
you for the first time.
Okay,
Hey, you've
this
never.
this is how I understand it. Like any other system, it has advantages and disadvantages.
True.
A system is flawed, but who flaws a system? Because when people come up with some of these things, maybe the intention is what we need to question. What was the intention of whatever system they put in place? But what usually happens is systems are usually put in place sometimes with the right
Purpose.
intentions, sometimes with the wrong intentions. But the ones that are put in place for the right intentions then get flawed. Why? Because people are greedy. Humans, we're just very
Naturally.
greedy. So what happens is that greed influences nature. But also when you talk about nature, that's why I say there's good and bad to everything. It's duality, it's how the world works. There's good and bad in everything. Even nature can be bad. People
Yes.
can be naturally inclined to the bad. They are evil. They are heartless. That's nature. That's why I said, for as long as we are operating in the egoistic consciousness, if we accept and say we are going to operate in an egoistic consciousness, then we have to accept both the good and the bad. What we keep trying to, why we have these conversations and keep trying to argue is because we are fighting for the what? The good. So, yes, nature and nurture can intersect for the good, but they can also intersect for the worst.
Do you think our systems are the reason, for instance, why there is violence against women?
Patriarchy, yes.
You believe that is the reason why?
Because of the
because-
imbalance. There's that. As long as we are operating the egoistic where identity, for me to be a man, this is how I should behave. You identify with a man. Someone mentioned that, asked why do women take on men's names, and a man answered, because you have to identify with your husband. Egoistic consciousness means that you build identity based off the materialistic nature of the world. The job you get, the position you have, the degree you have. If you have a degree, you're better than someone doesn't have a degree. If you're a CEO, you're better than an entrant. Basically, that is the world we are operating in, and for as long as we agree that we're operating in this world, the imbalance, the misalignment, is not going to stop. So I appreciate your views and I love them. I just know that at the end of it all, we are not the cause of the problem.
My question to Shabella then would be, given that you can't, it's a struggle, like I said, of nature versus nurture. If you're against patriarchy, patriarchy in its sense, what are you for? What are you for? Because there has to be another system.
Yeah.
That is how we run this
That's
thing.
how
And I
the
think,
egoistic
yes,
consciousness
Do we
works.
have to create a system? Okay,
yes,
maybe
that is how
That's-
human
okay,
is.
maybe the system should be equality and equity. Period.
And
But you see, that is almost. Can I say
Shabella,
something?
me, I think he has asked a very valid question, and that's what I've been trying to push to. That if you're not for patriarchy, then you are for matriarchy. Because if women keep fighting and fighting and say we have to be in this position, it's very good point, very valid. But what happens when women get in the position where the men are right now, where they dominate, and then we come back here on broken windows to
And
discuss
it's-
matriarchy?
For
Because
me,
now
my
men are
point,
no longer-
I'm not fighting for women to win or for men to win.
Yeah.
I just want a world where
There is
people
equality
can do what
and
they
equality.
want to
But
do.
we're telling you that, like she
But you
said,
see,
to operate in
matriarchy
this
as a
world,
system
there has to be a
doesn't provide
system.
that one. Neither does
Yes.
Patriarchy.
So what we're trying
So,
to do
which
is
equality and
what we're trying to do is erupt out of that system where we're held in bondage. Yeah,
Define
we're
this.
held.
Everyone,
Both men and women, yeah, because there's men like him who can't understand why he has to pay bride price. He didn't create the system. He has gone to school. His girlfriend has gone to school too. He just wants to be with her. Period. Or he can't understand why he has to get married to her.
Yes.
Yeah?
Just
He
wants to
is
show her
himself.
love.
I am myself. I mean, we're not in a relationship, but
Yes.
Not
but
yet.
if we were, yeah, I don't understand why he can't be himself. We will still have sex. We can still have kids if we want to have kids. He can still have his job. I'll have my job. We can still be in the house. We can do whatever I want to do. Yeah, there's nothing particularly that marriage will make us do differently.
I have a
Or
question for Shabella. I love that. I just have one simple question, and this is for the sake of our viewers out there. Does you being yourself with whoever you choose to be yourself omit the fact that patriarchy is a system and a culture that you cannot
Escape.
escape?
I think I can escape it, and that is what I am trying to do.
Actually, now that you say that, what
So-
is the future of the fight against
So,
patriarchy?
one, I think the key is identifying it. Yeah. Because if you can't identify it or know what you're fighting against, then there's no point to it.
But also, why are we fighting patriarchy? I understand when we're fighting oppression against women, but patriarchy as a system is not just a system that oppresses women.
Okay, because
It's a
if I
system that
if I want to get married to you, why would I take on your name? I love my name. Why should I take on your name?
No.
Or why
But
should I
you
be part
appreciate
of?
that there are women who actually love to take on those
But
names.
yes,
Could it-
they are there.
because of
but
nurture?
I will let me just for that particular point, yeah, there are a lot of women that do things not because they understand them or because they want them. Yeah, it's just how the system has been, and
That's
they
the
do not
nurture.
question it. They do not care for it. I'll talk
yes.
about aspiration to marriage. Yeah. So many women want to wear the white dress, yeah? They don't even know why. It's just what has been shown to them. So it's what they are doing.
Cinderella.
Because they think that somehow if they don't achieve that, then they'll never have achieved their final goal in life, yeah? The same way people will struggle so hard to get a degree. They will fail, they'll have so many retakes, yet they could just go out and do something that... just like how your parents would be like, you have to become a doctor, yeah? And yet, there's no fulfillment in that.
With him, I doubt.
No, you could just be, it's you finding yourself and just being your true self.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah.
You've talked about all these things, but it also seems like there's an element of finding yourself. So now, if we're in a world where,
Identity.
if we're in a world where, on paper we're equal, women have voting rights. We're supposed to get the same wage as a man. On paper, we're equal. It's not really what is happening, but on
We
paper, we're
remove
equal.
that was 0.5 for government.
Yes. So
administration.
why, if now this thing is about you finding yourself, then why are you fighting systems?
Okay, so for me, my issue is us asking questions when we need to ask questions, yeah? So you want to get married. Why do you want to get married? Why do you feel it's so important and pertinent to your life that
Do you feel
Daily
you cannot
sex.
have...
Daily
Yes.
sex.
Do you feel
So,
patriarchy is
now,
the reason for
the
that?
other question would be, you want to have sex, so do you have to get married to have sex? So at the end of the day, after evaluating your entire life and you feel like, okay, know what,
I could
yeah,
just hope.
I need to do this.
I could
need
just
to do
go.
I need to get married so that I feel content. That's fine. Same thing with religion. I have a problem with religion when people just follow because my parents are Catholics, my this and this and this. I want someone to sit down and be like, you know what, I've thought about everything and what, and I believe, yes, you know what, there has to be good somehow. So let me choose, and you're choosing it consciously. You're not just doing because somehow that's what life has thrown at you, or what people, or what you've been nurtured into. So for me, issue is ask questions. If at the end of the day that's what works for you, great. If at the end of the day you're saying, but Carl, I got married to this Chiman, I didn't even want to take his name, and you're having all these questions going on and bothering you, but still you're in the system, then you've been defeated by the system. Yeah. So same thing for me. Like, just ask the question.
I want, you know, we are running out of time, but I want to find out a few things from Brenda. Have you watched women's sports before? Do you watch football?
Yes.
What league? Do you watch men or women football?
I can watch it as long as it's on TV showing.
Yeah, but I mean, how religious? Like, there are women religiously following women's sports as men actually follow them, because there have been questions coming up that women actually are less paid.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to, because I think he asked almost a similar question just before. You see, why I had to define patriarchy in terms of culture and systems is because culture evolves. It should be able to evolve. It should be dynamic. So yes, we could start when these things are a certain way. But we need to ask, and that's when you're operating from this egoistic consciousness. When you ask the questions like Shabela says, when you come up and say, you start now to change the culture.
Yes.
And I think at the end of the day, the most that most of the people who are trying to dismantle the patriarchy will achieve is evolution of culture. If women never used to drive, then they can drive. If women never used to do this, then there are benefits. Though the fight shouldn't be against something that's an effect of nature.
Yes.
You get? Yes, we have labels like patriarchy. We have an English definition for it. But the question will be, what exactly are you fighting? In real sense, in actual sense. And that's what he kept asking. And I get where I'm coming from. And sometimes if you don't understand the origin that I gave you, you will end up arguing and arguing until the world ends. So I think the future of the fight against patriarchy, which I don't operate in, I don't know how to, let me just conclude. I think that if we were operating from a God consciousness, and when I say God consciousness, I mean higher self, which I love that she's trying to also, so at the end of the day, she's trying to say that people should be themselves, and it's true. At the end of the day, if we were operating in our natural selves, in our highest selves, there are things we would not even think about, because naturally, there would be harmony, would be aligned. So this fight, if we talk for the women and the men who are out there fighting patriarchy, fight for a lifestyle, an improved lifestyle. There's a lifestyle change you need to do.
Something you're comfortable with.
Something that works for the system. Because now while you're fighting the system, you also work for it every day in subconscious ways that you don't know. Very many. That's why you see movements are failing. The Black Lives Matter is failing because you think you're coming to fight something, yet you're actually working for the system. At the end of the day, what is identity?
But isn't that like giving up in its whole self?
Now,
of course, you're human, you make mistakes, you fall.
A lot of them, yes. A lot of people start these movements. That's why you see, at the end of the day, people end up angry. That's why people say feminists are very angry women. People end up with all these negative emotions because you're not operating from your God DNA, your God consciousness.
I would like to disagree. I think feminists are viewed as angry because they're trying to dismantle a system. And people don't like change. Every time you try to break change, every time you try to dismantle a system, there are going to be people who are going to come at you naturally, whether or not you're doing a good thing.
How come Jesus was not labeled angry? Yet
are you serious?
Let me first tell you, Jesus had 12 disciples.
No, I'm going to ask a question. That anger is as an emotion. You can't say that, they are calling me angry because of this. You're actually angry.
Okay.
But it's okay to be angry. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Yes. I'm just saying that when you're fighting and you're in an imbalance and it's not your own making, you will operate from low vibration frequencies, which include anger, anxiety, worry, fear, and that's how we are operating in these fights. And we're going to win. We need to now shift to a higher vibration and operate from love, empathy, compassion, and things
where
like
we
that.
are now. We are here because so many women have come before us. So many women fought the fight. So many women sacrificed. So many women were angry enough to cause the system to change. Yeah. So we're just carrying forward.
So you agree that we are living by nature?
No, but can I also point out something? Even men were in that fight. True. And what I do not like about feminists is this attack on men. Because we also found the system. And for me, I can tell you patriarchy has fucked me up more than it has fucked up most women. Because one, did you know that if you're a bastard son, you can't inherit shit? Because of the patriarchal system. There are so many ways patriarchy fucks up men.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
That is something.
I'm not disagreeing.
Your example is acknowledging that the patriarchal system, imagine he's complaining that because he's a bastard son, he can't inherit property. Yet the women who are actual children can't inherit property.
Yeah,
so
but he's trying to
say... what I'm saying, it's not the man or the woman. It's patriarchy as a system.
That's what I'm saying.
This attacking
you're
men
fighting the system, yet you have no control over that system.
No, listen. The fight against patriarchy is not also limited to women.
It's not.
And I agree with you. I mean,
but that's how you're saying. The women who have come, what?
No,
because even as a black man,
she was particularly talking about women. That's why I mentioned it. Yeah.
No,
I gave an example.
That's why I said I would like to look at life as I want us to be equal. Yeah. I don't want you to be my husband or my partner, and I'm earning 10 million, and because you're earning 5 million, you have to be a man. That's bullshit.
No, okay, yes.
But that's bullshit. If you're earning 5 million and I still expect you to pay the rent, to buy me fuel, to do everything, I just want you to be my partner.
You understand?
Let me ask a question. Sorry, guys, I feel like we are the conversation has now become between the hosts. But would you say your breasts are equal? In terms of size, shape, and
yes, I don't know. I've never noticed any equality.
Would you say your fingers are equal in size and length?
No.
Are they working together? Are they complementing each other? Are they doing what they are meant to do on your body?
Yes, that's the point.
I think that's what we need to aim for, because equality is very
the point of equality and equity.
Guys, our time is running out, and I'm shocked. Breasts are not equal.
It's scientifically proven. It's
actually been a lie. We've been lied to our whole life.
But I think that is why we prefer. I think men out there prefer certain breasts during sexual intercourse than they leave out the other one a lot. But yes, as we conclude, I just want to take one minute for us as we conclude this. Guys, do you feel like every process, I just want one minute from all of us, including you, you're today also my guest, including from all of us, to tell us just one thing about patriarchy. Do you think patriarchy is the reason for the following scenarios? Written down here. One, why women are constantly being told that the end goal should be marriage. I think we already answered that. Why some people are okay with over-sexualizing and objectifying of young girls in the media. Why it's very okay that we actually look at women as sex. Even men, we are being objectified and sexualized. And lastly... Are we answering each question as you go, or...? No, just as a wrap, in how you feel okay. Why do some men feel as though they are entitled to harsh opinions on subject matters they have no relation to? Women's reproductive health matters. Do you think patriarchy is the reason that men are actually feel like a woman should never abort, what, on that reproductive health and everything? And they limit you that I want my woman probably who was pulled, not the one who wasn't pulled. We'll go with you, Madam.
I think yes and no. Because one, men obviously feel opinionated about everything. They think they have a right to your life and what you can do and what you cannot do. But women also, coming from that, from their history of being down there, they want to tell you what to do from their experiences. So they think you should do what they think you should do from that.
What has worked for them.
Yes, which for me really bothers me and annoys me because, But I think patriarchy does have a role to play in all of them, in the sense that it is an enabler for their opinions. It is the reason they have the opinions that they have.
So it's patriarchy that has enabled this. Mr. Manan.
For me, I think, one, the way we look at patriarchy is that we assign it to men men are just, I feel like it's a bit unfair for women to always judge men if they've never been in our skins, because I also do not judge women because I do not know what they go through. I can relate, I can empathize, but unless you've stuck a day in my body, you have no BS also commenting on my matter. I'm a lover of private rights. So I also feel women have to have the right to choose. Women have a right on sexual reproductive rights and all those things, and have the rights to choose all these things, but as private rights, not as it is because it's a system, because I don't believe it is a system. If it is a system, then why have they failed to defeat it? Because there are very many willing bystanders this side.
Yeah. So for your conclusion is men are also affected by patriarchy?
Yes.
I would like to go on record that I agree with you.
All right. Record, go on.
I love Shabella's input on that question, and Shadrach.
Yes.
Again, we go back to by nature, the fact that we are born into this world and we are all operating from an egoistic consciousness. We have to end up having, these discussions that are good for us. And at the end of the day, a lot of these things happening in the world are as an effect of nature, one or the other. It could be patriarchy, it could be I don't know, any other movement that's there, racism or system that's in place. It's all an effect of nature, external influence from the world.
Right.
But the good thing is we all have a solution to this whole fight. If we can all aim to live in a God consciousness, a spirit consciousness, find your highest self, then maybe you start one person at a time to dismantle even the egoistic nature. Keep killing your ego, because your ego can mislead. It can protect you, but can also mislead you, because it gets selfish and it wants to eat, and it grows big and bigger, and every time it grows, you feel you're better than another human being. So keep killing that ego.
All right. I think as we finish up, also I would want to raise my 1 minute on this. I think clearly we would all agree that patriarchy is something that has been created by the system, a system that we have all been born to. That is why we're capable of singing certain songs in nursery school. I over-repeat this, that old Chief Kakande was born on Monday. They tell you what to do as you grow up. And also as we proceed, I think it is very, very clear for us to know that this patriarchy thing is not something affecting only women. It's also affecting men. Yeah. Because a man, you're supposed to live on a certain way. Some women actually want to be dominated. When you meet them, you're not acting like a man. You agree with everything like I say.
That is also an effect.
First speaker, man. Just allow me live my life.
And maybe the people came up with these systems, they use them as tools to get into our heads.
Yes.
Because if you knew that you are God and God consciousness and you carry God DNA, you'd be walking and acting.
But why is there no female God?
Actually did not respond to my question. How did you grow into that?
Okay.
Maybe God is.
Maybe we should ask that question. Should I answer it? Oh,
answer it. We have 4 minutes.
I think it just takes. First, it always starts with the questions. I actually love the path you're on, because very soon you're going to be operating from the God consciousness. You start with the questions. There are things that don't make sense to you from the beginning. From a young age, you'll ask, why an apple? Why did she eat an apple? Why not a mango? Every time you ask yourself a question, that is the spirit, the God consciousness pushing you out of the system, pushing you to get out of that box that they are trying to nurture you in.
Matrix,
so that's
reloaded.
Exactly, pushing you out of the matrix. So the moment you start asking questions, now don't go looking for the answers on the external, on the same people who have nurtured you to think a certain way.
Can I ask a
go
question
back
before you
on
can?
the inside, and all the answers are within you, because you all carry God DNA. You're all God's.
Can I ask you a question? But now, what happens when someone will listen to you and they will get the idea that there's a lot of discovery and a lot of exploration you have to do on an individual basis.
Yes.
But how about when you're fighting with real life problems now? You're at work, there's a man grabbing your breast.
Have you
How
guys
do I
heard
do
of,
I just say now, God, please, the consciousness,
Okay.
how do I deal with
Let
this?
me answer that. There's a spiritual mentor I have called Dr. Wayne Dyer. He passed away. He has a book called There's a Spiritual Problem. There's a spiritual solution to every problem. Just go online, you'll find it. Once you read that book, a spiritual solution to every problem, you will have your answer.
All right.
To the man
Shadrach
grabbing
has
the
gotten
breast.
himself homework on breast grabbing. Guys, please subscribe to Broken Windows 256. Comments. We want to hear what you have to say, and we will keep bringing Brenda in. By the way, it was because of so much public opinion, and also
She still didn't answer my question.
that
I
you've not
could have
answered that
answered. I
question.
said it's a process.
I think you guys will just
It's a
test.
process.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a process.
It's a
Yeah.
process. But when you get there, you'll know.
I've oversaid goodbye and concluded this show. So guys, let's conclude. We remain Broken Windows 256. Subscribe and keep watching. Thank you so much.